these guys are going to show their idea and how it has developed. So please give a crazy, super warm welcome to these two champions of Team Acetone, Maz and Raiz.
It was just a few months ago that we stood on this super stage with an idea. Aspiring to be the next change makers, little did we know that we would be where we are today. My name is Muzammil, and this is Raiz, and today we'd like to take you on the journey that we've been on.
The challenge proposed to the previous super stage was to try and find an innovative way to reduce
electronic waste and the waste from digital products. So we thought we'd focus on the packaging of digital products, and quite often an item that is readily discarded, which is styrofoam.
Now, styrofoam is such a versatile material that can be molded into practically any shape we want. As a result, it currently constitutes one of the major packaging components of most digital products. The problem, however, is that there isn't a practical way of recycling styrofoam. It takes over 500 years to biodegrade. What should be made clear though is that it's not the weight of styrofoam that is a problem, but the volume of space that it takes up in our landfills. It's also a serious danger to animals and marine life, especially if it's consumed.
Now, it was actually Super Stage, hosted by Super News, that inspired us to tackle this problem. And ultimately, this was our motivation, to try and help reduce the impact this styrofoam is having on our environment. As a result, we came up with a solution. And now, we are currently working with Super News and Hi-Fi Corporation to make it happen. What we discovered is that styrofoam is made up of two things. Polystyrene, which is a type of plastic, makes about 3 to 5% of it, and the remaining 95% of it is simply just air. So what exactly is our idea? By using a commonly available organic solvent known as acetone, we are able to break down styrofoam to within 3% of its initial volume. Essentially, what the acetone is doing is bursting the air bubbles in the styrofoam and thus reducing it just to its concentrated form, which is simply polystyrene. What's even more amazing is that this plastic that we get out of this can actually be molded into new products.
Since September last year, we've been researching and developing how we can practically implement this idea. So we approached this by exploring two main sectors, the consumer market and the industrial market. So our initial idea was to provide a package to consumers. But this unfortunately proved to be quite difficult, since it brought about the issue of, can consumers actually use the substance in a safe and effective manner? On the other hand, when we look at the industrial market, we found that we may actually be able to reduce polystyrene waste ourselves, and on a much larger scale as well. Basically, this will then produce a large amount of raw plastic material. So we decided to do a bit of research to fully understand how plastic producers actually work. I mean, how does one go about using this plastic raw material and then designing and producing a simple plastic product? We found out that they mainly use a system called injection molding. Simply put, it's a machine that melts raw plastic material and injects it into the mold of your choice. After working with an injection molder over the past few months, we've learned that our material can indeed be used to produce plastic products.
Now, as to many projects, we have gone through a number of developments over the past few months. We were operating in an environment where we could direct the project almost in any direction we want, and we were really excited by this prospect. Now, one of the developments was finding an alternative solvent to styrofoam, to acetone, called limonene. Our initial idea was to provide consumers with a package that would enable them to recycle the styrofoam themselves. However, there were some challenges with regard to using acetone, particularly when it comes to customer friendliness. So we decided to look for an alternative. This showed itself in the form of the oil squeezed from the peels of oranges. Yes, from orange peels. This has a similar effect to acetone and styrofoam, and they have the added benefit of being more wholesome and natural. However, the problem was that this melamine tended to break down the styrofoam in a much slower fashion as acetone, and thus it wasn't really viable on a more industrial scale.
After we decided to use acetone on an industrial scale, the next step was to decide what product we wanted to make. Just to paint a picture, we are essentially able to produce almost any plastic product. And when thinking about plastic products, there is quite a bit. So it wasn't an easy decision. However, our intention was to always produce a product that will have some sort of positive benefit, some sort of social upliftment motivation behind it, rather than just producing a simple, ordinary plastic product. So with that, we started looking into a number of areas where a plastic product could help. One of the first thoughts that we came through related to housing. In fact, we learned that it was possible to produce a so-called styrofoam brick. This styrofoam brick can then be used to build houses, and it essentially works by the production of a styrofoam brick and then filling it up with concrete. Another possible direction that we thought of was to produce a disposable water filter. This water filter they can screw onto any ordinary cook pot. And then we basically did some more further research on how these filters work, and believe me, it's actually a lot simpler than we think. We thought this would also help a lot of times in the rural areas where many times water sources may not be completely pure.
Now, a lot of these ideas have potential, but practically implementing it wasn't as straightforward. The reason being that our situation presented itself with some constraints. Since we are recycling polystyrene, the material is regarded as a second-grade plastic, and therefore it cannot be used in any products that would be related to food or water. The other constraint was the size of the products. We've been working together with an injection molding company, and the size of the products they can produce is no more similar to the size of a lunchbox. So the product we were looking to make would have to be within that size. So, taking all this into consideration, where are we now, and what can we do?
Well, working in the medical field has given me an opportunity to see where the most help is needed. It gave me a chance to look at important medical issues that a lot of people don't know about and that can actually be prevented. An issue we identified was that of burns in children. Burns and scalding is a common occurrence in young children as their skin is still very thin and are more likely to become burnt if they are exposed to any form of heat whatsoever. Every year, about 500 children are admitted to hospital, and a further 2,000 attend accident and emergency departments. And this is simply because their bath water was too hot and caused their skin to burn and scald. This number usually increases over the coming months, especially during the winter months, when parents think it's a good idea to give their children a hot water bath.
So, what does this have to do with polystyrene recycling? We're currently looking into a product, which is a simple bath plug. The bath plug itself is quite simple and will be made from recycled polystyrene. But the special thing about this plug, though, is that it will have a disc on top that will change color according to the temperature of the water. This will then notify the mother that the water is too hot for the baby, and then the mother can adjust the temperature to a more adequate one. This simple and cheap device can certainly be used in our setting and will most definitely help prevent scalding and burns in all infants and children in South Africa. Basically, what we're saying is this: with every piece of styrofoam that is collected, another anti-scalding bath plug can be made. By merely recycling your waste, you can make a difference in a child's life.
We've come a long way since September last year, and we plan to go a long way more. Super News with Hi-Fi Corp has also given us the opportunity to access Hi-Fi Corp stores nationwide and utilize them as distribution centers for our plastic product.
What was once waste styrofoam can now be distributed around the country and be used as a way to save another child's life. That is tackling environmental pollution and social upliftment on both levels. That is tackling a problem and using it as a solution. That is the key to change. Thank you.